Welcome to Magically Mindful, the podcast, where emotional alchemy, self love, and soul remembrance collide. I am your host, Tesla, emotional alchemist, here to share my raw perspectives on growth, healing, and the journey back to your authentic self. Through soulful conversations and inspiring stories, this space holds the messy, the magical, and everything in between. Let's dive in. Hello, beautiful divine soul. Welcome back to Magically Mindful, the podcast with yours truly. It's me, Tesla, and I am very excited to get into this episode. So, this episode was inspired by a conversation that I had earlier this week with one of my closest friends who I love so very much. Oh, my kitty is here to join in on the conversation. So, one of my really good friends, she has been putting in the work day in and day out to heal her relationship with anxiety. And I'm just so proud of her. She has a therapist that she sees weekly, specifically for anxiety, like they specialize in anxiety. And she has gone on a retreat, like, I went on a meditation retreat and just, like, doing all of these things and really getting outside of her comfort zone and truly, like, putting in the work. Now, she is older than me, and I say that only because I I think it would be harder to heal something like this later in life. It's not impossible, but there's just several more years of conditioning that one would need to work on. I mean, it's absolutely worth it. I would always say, like, do it, but I know that a lot of people who are, I don't know, 20, maybe more so 30 plus years older than me may not do it. So, I mean, that's people like in their 60s. She's not in her 60s, but nonetheless, I mean, I know, like, my own parents are not doing this type of work to my knowledge, and that's okay, but I just preface with that because for me, and this is all gonna tie in, what I worked to transform was my relationship with anger, and I d I just was doing that from a younger age than she is now doing this with her relationship with anxiety. So, you know, it's been a lifetime of uh, dealing with that pattern of being in, fight or flight. And it's like I am so proud of her, like I said. And all of this is to say that another therapy modality that she was seeking for a while was hypnosis with a hypnotherapist. And I guess they're also a psychologist. And this woman basically said to my friend, "Oh, you've been doing this work for a while and it seems like nothing's changing." I'm sorry, what? What? So when my friend told me this, I was actually waiting for my car because I was getting an oil change. And I was just voice messaging her like, no, hell to the fuck no. Because with me and my journey with anger, it took me from 2018 to 2024, 6 years to actually completely transform, alchemize it. Meaning, I had spent for as long as I could remember reacting to everything with anger and constantly getting triggered. In 2018, I started working with crystals, and that, that just helped me to start being more mindful. And then from there in 2020, I learned meditation from Mindspo, and I did that for 2 years, and now I actually don't meditate regularly, which is okay, but if you do, like, love that. And yeah, just over the years, it took different things. And while Dolce, my cat, is trying to go towards the light. The the ring light. So I had to put her down there. But over the years, over those 6 years for me, it like I don't know, probably for the first 3 years, I was still having like these outrageous outbursts of anger and like losing my shit. My emotions controlled me. I had no control over them. And so then over time, as I continued to work on myself, then it was like, okay, maybe I only had an outburst once a month. And then that looked like every couple months. And then it got spaced out more and more and more until finally May of 2024. And I've talked about this before on my podcast and in my vlogs. So you'll know if you're an OG, you know all about this, but if you're new, hello, welcome. So I love this astrologer, Chris Corsini. He's amazing. He has a cord cutting. I did that in May of 2024, and literally I did it one night. And when I woke up the next day, literally everything shifted. Like something had happened right in the morning that would normally trigger me. It was someone coming to my door at I think 9 a.m. on a Saturday, ringing the doorbell. And immediately I wake up and I'm just like, "Oh, I'm gonna go get mad at them." And then I was like, wait, no, we're not doing this anymore. So literally everything shifted. And now it is August of 2025. Well, actually, when you're seeing this, it's September 2025. Crazy. And now that just doesn't happen. So with that being said, this like there's so many layers here because first of all, this person who said this to my friend, she is a facilitator of healing. Like she's a therapist. I have a background in mindset coaching. I'm certified in mindset coaching, EFT, hypnosis, and 2 types of subconscious rewiring through Yes Supply. And they teach you right off the bat, like, how important it is. Like, it is not what are you doing? Get down. Oh my God. He gets mad. I just had to get up because, of course, as soon as I start recording, my sweet Dolce is distracting me. It's so funny because I'm like, yeah, I don't get mad anymore. And then I just like spoke to her sternly, but I'm not like when I say that I used to deal with rage, I'm talking, it literally felt like I was going through an exorcism. Like, I would get so mad, like, I would literally see red, I would feel it, it would engulf my entire body would be engulfed with this really intense energy that like, once it came on, like, there was no turning it off, like, it had to run its cycle, I couldn't just stop, like, it it controlled me, and I would just use my words as weapons, and I would freak out and, like, slam doors and do all of this. And like literally there were times when I would get like so mad, like it would increase and keep leveling up and leveling up. And then I have some memories of like laying in my bed several years ago, like literally shaking my whole fucking body, like The Exorcism. I don't even think I've actually seen that movie, but even just from seeing the trailers, that's what that fucking felt like. And it's just absolutely obviously drained me. So, anyways, I fortunately, I live to tell the tale that I don't experience that anymore. Thank God, but also thank myself because I put in the fucking work. But here's the thing. This is the thing that they don't tell you about healing. Hence the title. Healing takes time. And guess what? Time is an illusion. Healing takes time, but what the fuck even is time? It's an illusion. The healing journey is a journey. It's not the healing destination. And for me, on my own journey, when I was actively working to heal and reshape my relationship with anger, I never actually thought about the destination because prior to 2018, I was born in 1996. So what is that? Like, that's like 22. So I had lived, I mean, I don't think I was like this from a baby, but I did have the influence of anger in my household. So, that obviously I picked up on some things subconsciously, and I'm sure in past lives and all the things, like often the wound that we are looking to heal, it is bigger than us, and it's just our duty to break the chains, to like free those before us who had to go through it, and then to, try to almost like prevent it from happening to the generations that come after us. So basically, for my whole life, I literally just thought that I was an angry person and I was just born this way and that there was no other way. So when it was brought to my attention in 2018, the fact that my anger actually doesn't define me and that there are other ways, when I received that information from a loved one, I it made something shift in me, like, "Oh, like, wow, I've never heard this before. No one's ever told me this." But it didn't change everything in that moment in the sense of like, oh, like I didn't fully, like, I was open to the information, but I didn't like fully maybe take it as fact because there were so many years of my life where I lived in a different reality, like that, like my truth was, no, I'm just an angry person. So I never thought about the destination because all I really wanted for myself was to just be in control, like, be in the driver's seat of my own self because, like, I don't know what was overcoming me, but, I guess just to put it simply, it was the rage was, and, I went on to like, the big key for me was learning about my undefined solar plexus and human design, which basically just means that I am highly sensitive to the emotions of others, and I will amplify and distort the emotions of those around me in my environment. And so you better believe like road rage was a huge thing for so long because I mean, yeah, I'm out on the road like picking up on all these other energies around me so I could go from 0 to 100. Like I could be at home, really chill, then have to get in my car and drive to work, be so freaking amplified. Then I'd get to work, and at the time when I was working as a receptionist at a clinic here in Calgary, it was in the basement. So then I'd go down to the basement. I'm like, oh, it's so grounding in here. I would do a bunch of cleaning duties at the beginning of my shift for like the first hour always because it would help to bring my energy down and then I'd be fine. So I just think that I was meant to like, my friend was meant to share this information with me so that I could now get on the mic and just, like, be a light for you because, oh, it did I don't know if enraged is the right word, like, it wasn't like, "Oh my god, I'm gonna, like, get in my car and go find this person and beat her up, like, cancel Clear to Leave," like, no, nothing like that, but I just wanna, like, be a voice for this because when I think about it, and like I'm actually probably guilty of this myself when I was promoting my own coaching offerings in the beginning of, or not the beginning of, but back like last year. So in 2024. So I don't think people really talk about how long the healing journey takes. And especially in this online world, it's often about the highlight reels. I've seen this in my own experience of learning from these amazing mentors, these women who are like, and now I'm speaking more about business, but they're, at this amazing place in their business, like, and it's admirable and it's inspiring. But then when I was trying to do my coaching business, I'm like, why the fuck is nothing working? Like, what the hell? Like I don't think people talk enough about the time in between. Because here's the thing, like, it is about the journey. So, wherever you are at right now, maybe you're not exactly where you want to be, but my love, I want to remind you that you are always exactly where you are meant to be. And I had to remind my own self of this information as I'm moving through an uncomfortable time while healing my well, it's getting it's not that it's becoming more comfortable, but I'm making more peace and embracing the season I'm in terms of my relationship with money. And I know I'm exactly where I'm meant to be because I set out one of my main goal because okay, in 2024, I healed my relationship with anger. That was my biggest accomplishment. And so now in 2025, I had set the goal back in January, the intention to do the same but with my relationship with money. Whatever you are working to heal, you are always exactly where you're meant to be, and babe, just look at whatever's going on in the motherfucking stars also, okay? Chris Corsini is my number 1 go-to resource for all things in the cosmos, and he always has so many great workshops that are very accessible, they're pay what you can, this is not sponsored, I literally just love him so much, but that always brings me so much solace because, like, I mean, we're human, like, we're in the mundane, right? And, like, sometimes it does feel more mundane than magical, but we are a spirit in a human form, you know? We are a soul, and gosh, like, the last thing I would ever want someone to feel is, like, judged because of where they're at on their own timeline. Like, it just doesn't work that way. And with my friend, it has been some years now, I don't exactly know how many of like she's had this awareness of her dynamic with anxiety, but it's really been only 5 months of her showing up every single day doing what she needs to do to help her regulate and feel more grounded and more in her body versus her head. And I always am reminding her, it took me 6 fucking years to be at the point where I'm at now with my relationship with anger. And my friend actually sent me a reel, maybe I can insert it?
The period of Virgo this year begins on August 24th. And the Kabbalists actually share that a very special and unique light enters this world that causes all unhealed wounds, traumas, and soul corrections to come back as a secondary opportunity to be able to transform them in order to shift to a higher vibration, the vibration of the Creator and the vibration of miracles in our lives. So, what you might experience is past relationships come back. What you might experience is that issues that you thought you once resolved, anger, fear, control, insecurity, anxiety that you thought maybe you once resolved, they will come back in some shape or some form. It is very important not to react and to realize that this is a test for your soul that has existed since the time of creation. And we have 30 days to transform as much as possible before we receive a new destiny, which happens on the first and second day of Libra. So when the test comes, when the darkness comes, pause, say what a gift, feel whole inside. And when you feel that you are at a place of peace, you will be a channel in how to solve the problem. Don't try to solve the problem. Solve what's going on inside first.
So literally, we are being tested or like revisited with certain things to level up. And you may have seen me talk about this on well, it's funny because I put it on my Instagram story, but I was still kind of in the heat of the moment, so I ended up deleting it. But I think it was a week or 2 ago, I like, this was when we were still in Leo season, and this Leo season and I'm shocked because I am a Leo, so me saying this, Leo season was probably always my favorite season of every single year up until this year. Like, I think it's because we had 5 planets retrograding, which means they're moving backwards, and it just did not feel like Leo season at all, and I know I'm not the only one that feels that way. So it was right on the tail end of Leo season. I had just seen my therapist for the first time in, like, a couple months, and I was just like, "Girl, what the hell?" Like, and I just that if for there was about 2 weeks where I was just, like, feeling very off and, like, needing so much sleep, like 10 to 12 hours of sleep, and I was sleeping through most of the day, and that was when I was spending more time on the couch. I was because, well, I had said in my vlog that I don't spend a lot of time on this couch. Like, it's more of a business. This is like my office more so than a lounging space, but at that time, I was, like, watching more TV and yada, yada, yada. So, I have therapy, and then I'm working DoorDash, and I'm, like, very aware that I was feeling more irritated than normal. Like, for about, like, 2 weeks, I was feeling super irritated, but normally, like, I just don't feel that way. I usually do feel quite positive. Like, maybe I feel tired at times, cancel, clear, delete, but I just, like, always am just positive, like, whatever, we worked, for 6 years on this shit, okay? 6 years and counting to improve our mindset, so you better believe, like, I'm coming with my best foot forward 99% of the time. So I'm like, "Okay, I'm extra aware that I'm, like, feeling more irritated and whatever." So I'm working my DoorDash shift, and I'm in the Superstore parking lot. I'm there all the time, and I'm listening to music. I do have a subwoofer, but I'm listening to music at a moderate level because I was actually reading The Law of Divine Compensation. I'm rereading it right now. And I was just like, yeah, just trying to take a moment for myself in the midst of all this chaotic energy because, like, orders at Superstore, like, sometimes I've had to wait 45 minutes and cancel, clear, delete, if they're understaffed, but, typically it could be, like, anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes. So, I'm taking advantage of this time and I'm reading. And I can't, like, be in noisy places. I could be sitting out in nature and reading a book, but, like, which I showed you in my last vlog, but without, like, headphones. But that, like, if I'm when I was getting my oil change, like, I had brought my book, but I didn't bring headphones, and the TV was on, and people were talking, like, and I couldn't read. So anyways, my music was not loud because it would distract me. All of the sudden, like, and I'm in this flow with the book, right? All of a sudden, someone right up to me at my window, driver's side window, knocks on it. I'm, like, stunned. Like, make sure you're looking at the video because my face was probably like, and then I look, and then I'm like, there's this fucking man. I'm like, this white fucking man, and my window was open a crack, and I'm, like, looking at him with, like, disgust because, like, first of all, you just scared the fucking shit out of me, and secondly, who the fuck are you? And he's, like, on the phone, and then I'm, like, giving him this dirty look for, like, at least 5 seconds, and he's like, "Can you turn your bass down?" And I said nothing because I was literally stunned, and then he walked away. So, I don't know how, like, exactly where I was parked, like, because for the when you're picking up your groceries, like, order online, there's 2 rows like this, um, for like, basically, the trunks are like, my trunk would be facing the person across from me's trunk, like, that's how the row is, and I was on I was across from him, not directly across, like, a couple cars over and across, and, like, if this would have been literally 2 years ago, I don't know what would have happened. Like, I would have lost my shit. And let's get into this because I have my Chiron in Libra in the 10th house. If you're an astrology girly pop, you'll understand what that means. And I don't honestly know the full context, but what resonated with me for a long time about this placement. So, Chiron is our wounded healer. And if you want to learn more about yourself, put into AI your Chiron placement. Make sure you give it the house and the sign that it's in. It will tell you so much. And the wounded healer, like, it is a wound that we are here meant to heal if we make that conscious decision to do so. So, how it resonated with me prior to having the information in from my human design chart about the open solar plexus for a while, because I only had known about the astrology part, Whereas like the human design piece really clicked and made everything make more sense. But what I had taken away from it was that Libra really wants justice. And so I'm like, "Oh yeah, as a kid I always felt like everything was unfair and like my mom if she would get upset with me or like I would be in trouble and I would try to ask her why if she was punishing me or for whatever reason, she'd always just say because I said so, and I always felt like that was so unfair, and that would cause me to get angry and upset because I'd be like, "What do you mean because you said so?" You know? Like, "Give me some more fucking information." And so I thought, "Okay." And then I realized, okay, when I would get like a lot of times when I would experience rage, it would be with a complete random stranger, but there was a theme. It would be with a white man, probably twice my age. Like, I would say throughout my 20s, these guys were probably in their mid to late 40s and up, like maybe 50s and 60s. And why I said exactly 2 years ago, if this situation in the parking lot would have happened 2 years ago. Well, 2 years ago, August 2023, my friend at the time and I actually did talk about this on the podcast before, but I'm here to tell the story again. So, we were so excited. We booked a campsite 2 hours south of Calgary for 2 nights. I can't remember where. I wanna say it was Castle Mountain, but I could totally be wrong about that. But we were so excited because with the campsite, most campsites in Alberta, you do need to go online and reserve it. Like, I think they're probably the majority of them, like a large majority of campsites are set up that way now that you do it online before you go versus showing up and putting money in a drop box. Because things like get filled up otherwise or it's like first come first serve, but this campsite was you pre-reserve it. So we booked campsite 33 because we love angel numbers. And so we were like, oh, this is like aligned. It's meant to be. We're so excited. So that day we took our time getting to check in because we knew we didn't have to meet with anyone. So we had stopped off at this beautiful waterfall off the side of the road and we swam in it. And it was just, we were just like soaking up the sunshine. So by the time we get down to the campgrounds, I yeah, it was after hours in the sense of because basically we had to end up making a call, which you're gonna understand why in a second. But yeah, I think it was like after hours or something. Like it was probably it was probably after 6 o'clock, honestly, once we got there. And the sun, I mean, yeah, the sun was setting. I don't know. I'm just trying to give you as much context as possible. But basically, oh, this is why. Okay, so we show up and there's a giant trailer parked in our campsite. And we're like, what is going on? And again, we already paid for the site. And so we're like, what is happening? And so, of course, there's no phone service at the campsite. So then we had to drive back to cell service. And I think, yeah, we spoke to this older man who happened to be sitting there. He's like, oh, it's my son's site. They're over at the river or whatever. And so we were like, "What?" So then we tried to call, and so this is where the after hours thing comes in because the person we spoke with was informed us that there's no ranger on call right now. Because maybe it was even a long weekend when we went, I don't know. That I don't remember the dates, but we were like, "Okay." So she told us some alternative sites that we could stay at, and so we go back and we look and we're like, "Well, both of these sites suck." Like, we picked 33 for a reason. Like, yes, the angel numbers, but also, like, it had the shade and it was this and that, whatever. So, my friend says to me, she's like, "Well, should we just go back there and let them know, like, this is so rude?" Or she didn't say, "This is so rude." I don't remember her exact words, but I was kinda weary about it because I knew that I could lose my shit at the drop of a dime, and at the time, she had never witnessed that before, but I always was very transparent with friends, like, if they were newer friends. I mean, we had been friends for a couple years, I think, at that point, but Yeah, she just had never witnessed it, but, like, I was always transparent, like, "Yeah, like, this is my dynamic with anger, it's something I'm working on, whatever." So I'm like, "I mean, yeah, we can do that, but, like, are you okay to do the talking?" And she says, "Yes," and I have my smoky quartz tower in the car with me because I always like to bring it on road trips for protection, and I used to always work DoorDash with this specific smoky quartz tower. Now I have a palm stone, smoky quartz palm stone in my car, so that's what I have at all times with me and a little piece of black tourmaline for protection. So we get back and there is a man probably in his 40s that is there and there's an older woman with the older man that we had seen before and two kids, a boy and a girl. I don't know how old they were. I really have no idea. They were definitely not teenagers, but they weren't infants either. So somewhere in between. And so we get out and we just are like, "Hey, this is our site." And the guy goes, "Oh, I thought we just pay here. Like I put money in the thing." And we're like, "No, it's online." And sir, if you have a trailer, a giant trailer, you fucking know what like at least I hope you know what you're doing, like how this works, right? Like if you have a trailer, like be responsible. And we're saying some things. Like my friend was doing more of the talking at first, but then I kind of started to chime in. And so he was just like, I ended up getting triggered because he was like, kind of like, ah, whatever, like get over it to us. But it's like, and so I said, I'm like, that's not like the outdoorsy men like thing to do, like there is an etiquette when you go out into the middle of fucking nowhere. Like that's just how that works, especially when we're talking about backcountry camping and things like that, right? Like there's just an etiquette. And yeah, so I don't know. I don't Oh, yeah, see, it's kind of coming back to me now. So we're kind of just saying whatever, like I don't know. I don't remember everything that we were saying, but then as he turns around to walk away from us, he says, "I'm not taking this abuse," and starts to walk away. And then 0 to 100, I fucking start screaming at this man like I don't even know, like I partially blacked out. Like I don't even remember what I was saying, but I'm like, fuck you, this, like whatever. And then he comes at me like very close in my face and I'm like screaming at him. And I like the adrenaline in me like wanted to throw hands and yeah, I've never been in a physical fight. Always just verbal altercations. Cancel, clear, delete, all of that though. So, yeah, he gets close to me and I like consider charging at him, but I realized I was like, no, he'll like actually lay hands on me if I do that. So it's not worth it. Thank God I had that moment, that peace of mind. I don't know. I don't know what we want to call it. But I had a moment of like, okay, no, don't do that. And then like before I know it, we're just screaming at each other and then he's pouring his beer on me and his two kids are there. And I was sober at that time, still am. And it's like even worse. Like I'm like, great. And yeah, it was an awful awful fucking experience. And then, we're getting back into my car and also there's beer on my car and I can assume that it was the guys with his kids and then his parents, so the kids' grandparents, and then the grandpa is then saying to my friend as she's getting into the car, like, "Is she always like this?" Like, "Oh my god, they are besides themselves, the grandparents, at my behavior, yet your grown fucking son is pouring beer on me? Like, what?" And, there is just, like, this theme because it's like my thing and this is, like, how I registered my Chiron in Libra for so long was like, I am put in like, I felt like I'm put in these situations where these men that are older than me, like, I felt like they think they can get away with shit because I'm a woman and I'm visibly younger than them. And that's why my Leo sun, like the lioness, but then also my Aries moon which is like the moon rules our emotions and all of that. Like I would roar because I wanted to be taken seriously and I wanted to be like, you cannot fuck with me. And I thought that the only way that I would be taken seriously is if I was louder than them. But obviously, after those 6 years of working to reshape my relationship with anger, and I actually just heard this on a podcast yesterday that the loudest person does not win the argument, but I didn't that did not register to me for a long time. And so it's all just so interesting because well, and I mean, again back to that reel, like it's interesting, but it's fucking divinely guided. It's in the stars, it's written in the stars that I was in this position where, this man is trying to tell me what to do. And yeah, that used to be such a trigger for me because I'm like, you don't get to fucking tell me what to do. Like, who the fuck are you? Like, leave me alone, you know? But thank God I did the best thing I possibly could have done in that situation, which was say nothing. And I did not touch the volume at all. I just left it how it was because I'm like, they're like, I this person was just having a bad day and projecting their shit onto me, right? But I just like let it roll off me and it did upset me and I sent my friend a voice note like being like, "What the hell?" But now I'm like by the time I was going to bed and the next day I was like, "Oh, holy shit, like thank you universe. Like I get to celebrate this. This is an you presented me with an opportunity that once used to trigger me, that now it doesn't and like I get to move forward from that interaction and take it as a fucking like celebration and as a milestone, like to be like to remind me how fucking far I've come. But this did not happen overnight. So, like I mentioned, in 2018 and 2019, I was heavily working with crystals to bring more calmness to my energy because we as humans have a base resonance frequency. Plants have it, like all energetic things have a base resonance frequency. But for humans, our our frequency, it changes based on our environment and like what we're doing, right? And like to put it so simply, it's like, yeah, sometimes we're super energized or sometimes we're more tired, and our environment can be a direct impact of that. Whereas crystals, their base resonance frequency, BRF, base resonance, yeah, their BRF is constant. It never changes. That's why quartz is used in things like clocks because, well, actually, I can't remember why that is, but if you're a little smarty pants, you'll understand what that means. But I just remember learning that in my crystal healing course. But I guess it's just because it's like at a constant and for whatever reason it works in clocks. That's like me as an MG. Like I know a lot or I know a little about a lot of things. But anyways, so working with crystals and setting intentions with them, I would set the intention like I was working with a golden healer quartz, which is like gives you like the energy of the sun and goddess and like just positive good energy. So I would like work with that one to bring like to help bring me that type of energy, right? And then also I would work with smoky quartz to help transmute any negative energy that I was taking in. Like it would kind of like act like a protective shield. And at the time, I always forget about this job, but I was actually working at Shoppers Drug Mart. I worked in the beauty department and also as not no, I was gonna say as a cashier, but no, I guess I was a person on the floor. I don't know really like I don't remember what I would be called. Like I want to say a stalker, but I don't think that's right. I can't remember. But yeah, the Westmount location in Edmonton, if you know, you know. So I would feel triggered, like, just being around so many different people because not everyone was nice, right? Like, like, if you've experienced working in retail or, like, oh god, the restaurant industry, hospitality, like, it is not always pleasant, and I would bring this green fluorite sphere, this mini sphere, and I had a sodalite one as well. And the intentions behind those was for protection and like transmuting of negative energies, and also the sodalite, which is a blue and white crystal, that was to help with the throat chakra. So I was like, please help me to like speak with love, or who knows exactly what it was. But I did notice a positive shift, like shift on my shifts at work. And I wasn't perfect, but it did help. And just having it in my pocket, like, I just if it's placebo or not, make do with it what you want, but it did help me a lot. And so that was like the first kind of 2 years, 2019. Then in 2020, my partner gifted me, well, I asked him to, my for my birthday, the Mindspo meditation method. So it was an online meditation course. It's still available, I'm pretty sure. And I would say from 2020 until 2022, I was pretty much meditating every single day, aside from, at times I would miss a day, but I was basically meditating every day. And what's so beautiful about that course is that they have a 66-day challenge. So every day before you meditate, they have a beautiful video for you to watch. Rochelle and Chris, they are the founders of Mindspo. So they would take turns and like share golden nuggets or have videos together, and they would just help you to stay accountable on your meditation journey. And I loved it. I loved it. It's a mantra-based meditation. They offer it in a 15-minute, 22-minute, or 30-minute recording. And so that really helped me a lot. And I think over time, that's what allowed me to experience, like, it helped me to shift from being a reactive person into a responsive person. And then in 2023, I had moved into a place by myself, and the energy in my place, I loved living there, but I just like could not really meditate. I would sit down and try to do it, but my mind would just race, and I would just be like taking my headphones off and being like, "Wait, what was I doing again?" I just, like, could not focus. And so, kinda since then, I mean, I think there was a time or 2 where I did try to redo the 66-day challenge, and I would sit down and watch the videos, and, yeah, I would meditate here and there, but just not every single day. And then during that time in 2023 is when I enrolled in Yes Supply, which is where I received those certifications I mentioned in mindset coaching, EFT, hypnosis, and subconscious rewiring. And so that's where I just was able to heal more layers of myself. And interestingly enough, I had the knowledge about astrology at that point, not in depth, but I knew a fair bit about astrology, like probably more than the average person, but I was still a beginner. And then one of the first videos that I watched in Yes Supply, it was a guest speaker talking about human design, because this woman was sharing about the 5 energy types and what human design is all about, because she really believed that having that information would help you as a coach, like, well, for yourself, but then for your clients in a huge way. And oh, I am so with her. Like, I'm with you, sister, because I was like, "Wait, yeah, this would help me so much as a coach, because I can look at their chart and understand, like, why they are the way they are, like, help them understand that, because it's like, this is your soul's blueprint." That's what modalities like astrology, human design, the gene keys, and probably more that I don't even know about can help you see. I know the Enneagram helps with things like that as well. I've done the Enneagram. I think I'm saying that right. I did it a few years ago, but my friend recently asked me about it, and I was like, "Oh, yeah, I need to do it because I don't remember what I am." But there's so many great, modalities that can just help us better understand who we are, because, like, w we like, everything is written for us even before we incarnate, right? Like it's all in the stars. That's why the birth time is gold, baby. That is gold. That is your golden ticket, your key to unlock so much because I did not understand myself for so long. Like as a kid, as a teenager, in my early 20s, like I'm just like, especially with the rage thing, I'm like, why the fuck am I like this? Like, okay, maybe something's wrong with me, you know? But that was never true. Cancel, clear, delete. And from there, I I don't know if I already was following the teacher that I then had or how that came to be, but Amy Leah, she teaches human design and astrology in a way where she's synthesizing both. And I was like, "Oh my god," she ended up launching a course where she was teaching them. But yeah, I think I must have been following her already before enrolling in Yes Supply. Cause then I had enrolled and then I saw the video about human design and I had received a reading prior to this. But yeah, everything was just clicking and I was like, "Oh my god." So eventually when I see that or saw that she had launched her course as soon as I could, I joined. And I was still finishing up the Yes Supply certification method, but yeah, then before I was even done, like I started diving into astrology and human design and wow, like honestly just talking about it, I'm like, I think I might want to re-watch some things because thank God I have lifetime access. Like it I just nothing lights my soul on fire more honestly than human design and astrology. Like I love those modalities so fucking much because they transformed my life. Like so all of those tools, the crystals, the meditation, the mindset work, like subconscious rewiring, all of those things helped me so much. But it's like, here's the groundwork, and like we're leveling up. I had built this foundation, and also self love was huge throughout all of this. Like, that was a thread throughout everything that allowed me to become embodied in the things that I was learning because it's like, yeah, I fucking love myself. Of course, I want to better myself and become the best version of me for myself and then in turn those around me. And now in turn for you watching, which is like so fucking cool. So then when I started learning about astrology and human design, things really were starting to click like, oh my God, this is why I respond in this way and that. And so when I learned when Amy talked about having an open or undefined solar plexus and what that meant, I was like, "Oh my god." Like, holy shit. Like, that was the biggest light bulb moment, and then I'm like, "Okay, so this was never even mine to begin with." The rage that I had been experiencing, I had taken it on and amplified and distorted it from one of my parents and how they would exhibit, is that the right word I wanna use? Anger? I had taken that on as a child, and then I had carried it on throughout my own life all the way up until into my 20s. So, I had done subconscious rewiring to help with anger, and they taught us in Yes Supply. Okay, there's something that was in my eye, and now my eye, like, I was trying to get it out, and I think I did, but now my eye is, like, a little bit irritated, and I cannot stand up because I have the kitty on my lap, which never happens when I'm recording the pod. So I'm like, "Oh my gosh, what do I do here?" I was blinking, and I have this ring light on me, and oh my gosh, it's bright. So this is not helping, but I'm gonna just do my best here. If you're wondering why my eye, like, I'm not crying, I'm good. Maybe I am crying, I don't know. Just kidding. So in Yes Supply, what I had learned is that if you want to release a negative emotion in a subconscious rewiring session, if you are wanting to rewire anger, well, you need to also release sadness because that's often underneath anger. And so I had done that and I didn't really notice a shift, honestly. And I just realized I didn't finish my thought from earlier of like being guilty of something, is that like in terms of that healing takes time because
yeah, when I was selling my coaching offers, it's like, yeah, and it's not just me, but I'm just trying to be like, take accountability for my part because I was selling offerings that were 3 months long or 1 month long or a self-paced course, and it's like healing is not linear. We cannot promise any amount of time because, like I said, it's taken me 6 years, but for my friend, she's 5 months in. It could take her 5 years or it might take her another 5 months. Like, we don't know, right? Everyone is so different, and why is because we all have different, like, belief systems and traumas and wounds and this and that. Our past lives are vastly different, like, our ancestors, the generations before us, so much plays into this, so we cannot fucking put a timeline on healing. So with subconscious rewiring, I facilitated sessions where, like, the person on the receiving end, they did release things in one session. But guess what? That is because they were at a point on their journey where they were ready to fully release it. But with subconscious rewiring, it is possible to release something in one session, but it's not guaranteed because, like, where are you at on your journey? Have you been working at the thing you want to release? And are you fully aware of what you want to release and the root of it and this and that? Because if you are, then you fully are ready to release. But if not, and so for me, like at that point when I was doing, like, I did a subconscious rewiring session, like I had received from a fellow classmate, we would partner on one another, right? So, and take turns. So we did anger and then we did sadness, but it actually like brought me the awareness that I had a huge wound around unworthiness that I needed to heal as well. So it's like I was not able in one session to release my dynamic with anger at the time, and that was probably that would have been in 2023, I think, when I would have done those sessions, and really, those sessions just allowed like, it opened more doors for me. It wasn't, like, a waste of time or any like, it was very good that I was doing that work, but it's just it wasn't the end all be all for me, like but it can be. But it's all dependent on, yeah, where you're at. And so then in May of 2024, like, I had this full understanding, like, "Oh my god, this rage was never even mine to begin with," like, yada, 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 that when I sat down to do Chris's cord cutting, I was, like, fully ready to release it because I had 6 years where I was actively working on this, and so that's what I shared with my friend. I'm like, she's super into meditation right now, which is amazing. Like, I can resonate with that. I was the same, and, Rochelle, who is one of the teachers at Mindspo, well, she's the co-founder of Mindspo, but in terms of the meditation course, she, I know, meditates daily to this day, and she's been doing it for over 10 years. Like, who knows? It could be closer to 20 years. And so, like, that is true for some people that they will meditate for every day for the rest of their lives, or, they may miss a day here and there. We're only human. But, for me, like, that was like laying the foundation. But then I went on to not need to do it like every single day anymore, which is fine. But what I was saying to my friend is like, yeah, you're really into this right now and like you might be forever, but you also where you're at right now, it's only the beginning. And this is this is the groundwork because like why does healing take time? Because we still have more to experience, whether it's like meeting someone new and if we're doing a session with them, like they're facilitating a healing session, or you quite literally just have a conversation and then it shifts something for you, like your perspective shifts because someone opened your mind in a new way. Like there is just so much that can happen. And even so, yeah, it's like you're doing this work every single day for months on end, it's still going to take time. Like, you still might not be where you want to be, but how are you feeling? Like, do you feel even just a percent better than you did before you started this? Because that's something to celebrate. Like, there is always something to celebrate. And what I was celebrating is like, oh my gosh, I didn't lose my shit on that guy. I just didn't say anything. I protected my peace. And actually, going back to the campsite situation, I felt like fucking shit after it happened. Like, my friend and I finally we go to a different site and we set up our tent like basically in the dark, and I felt obviously like shit because I was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry you had to see that," and yada yada yada. But I had really wanted to get this tattooed, and I did, but I think that was August, or maybe it was even September of 2023, and then it was January 2024 when I got the tattoos, I think, or near the end of 2023. But I was like, I need to get these mantras tattooed on me so that it will help me to bring me back and to so that I don't like lose my shit like that again. Like, that cannot happen again. And a lot of the times when we do experience something at like such a high level and it's negative, I like in my experience, I'm like, okay, that happened. And then I had a really bad road rage experience, like the worst one ever. Both of those things happened. And I was like, we cannot let this happen again. And it didn't, you know? So sometimes it just takes that. You know, you have to touch the burning stove to know not to do it again. So, but yeah, cancel, clear, delete, all that. It's in the past. But the mantras, so I got them tattooed. Oh, I'll just insert a clip. They're tattooed on my fingers, like facing inwards. But on my left, it says, "Peace begins with me." And I learned this from Mindspo. Rochelle has a meditation. It's so beautiful. I think she said she learned it from Louise Hay, but I'll also insert it. And in the meditation, you're saying, "Peace begins with me," but you're taking your fingers like this. And so in your head, you're saying peace and you're inhaling. And then you're going begins, exhale with inhale me. So like that, and you just do that over and over in the meditation, and it's so good. So I got that tattooed. And then on my right, it says protect your energy. And I was like, yeah, like if I want to throw hands, I'll see it. But funnily enough, I always forget that I have these tattoos, which like is really surprising to me because they're on my fingers, but the ones I notice the most are the ones on my forearm, my trilogy tattoo, and my 444. But anyways, so yeah, that inspired that. But I'm sure even just honestly having them subconsciously, it probably impacted me positively. But yeah, like all of this, all of this has taken time. Like, this was not an overnight success. Okay. This is not going viral on social media. Real healing takes fucking time. Like, if you want it to be sustainable, like, we're not putting a band-aid on it. Like, for me, I had my mom, and I've said this before, and I don't know if she like actively listens to my episodes, but she's probably like, please stop saying this, but it's true. And it's okay. I'm not saying this to put blame, but she would tell me, you need medication because you have a chemical imbalance. And I always say, bless her soul, because she had a psychologist in her 20s who said that to her, and so she was put on medication, but I was like, "No, no, no," like, to help her regulate her emotions, I guess, I think, um, but I would say, "No, no, no, it is meditation, not medication," and so it's the same thing for my friend. So many people have said to her, like, "Maybe you just need to go on anxiety meds," and she's like, "No, I'm not gonna do that." Like, this like, if you really want to fucking dive into the depths, into the deep ends of your soul, the dark night of the soul, babe, it's going to take time. But the more that you do it, the easier it becomes. It really does, because I do not regret one moment out of those 6 years of, like, doing that work, because every time, like, when I would experience an outburst, it would be like it would just get better and better, like, and they would become further and further apart, and to now where it's, like, 0 and cancel, clearly to anything else. Because, yeah, now, like I said, it's September of 2025, before I know it, I'm going to be celebrating 2 years of, completely transforming my relationship with anger. And this was so present for me for so much of my life. And it felt like shit, but like especially when I would like have those exorcism like moments, but then it felt amazing because I'm like, "Oh my gosh, like I'm not depleting my energy like I once used to." And now I do get to be in control and in the driver's seat. So, yeah, wherever you are at on your healing journey, let's celebrate it. Like, celebrate it. I honestly would invite you to even pause the video right now and take a moment to just think of 1 to 3 things that you want to, like, congratulate yourself for and celebrate about your healing journey, or just anything about yourself. Because that's the thing, like, in our society, it's so go, go, go. On social media, it's all about the highlight reels, like, think about just, like, the most small, mundane thing, okay? Just take a moment to think about it. Because the more that you can focus in on those small things, like, small things make up the big things, right? The more you can do that, the better you're gonna feel. And it's just, yeah, with everything that I've shared, with everything that I ever share, please remember that self-love is that is the foundation of everything that I've done. Would I have really taken the time to put in 6 years of, like, choosing a different path? I don't know, I'm trying to think of how to say this, because I mean, essentially, I was getting outside of my comfort zone and doing things differently. It obviously felt better to not be freaking out as much, but there's so many people, sadly, who choose to not do this work, and so I mean, I think when we do start to do it, it can feel like the path of like we feel the resistance, but then it turns into the path of least resistance, right? And it just is so much easier when you love yourself because yeah, like would I have done it if I didn't love myself? Like probably not because what would have been my motivator, I needed to do it for me, not because someone else was telling me to fucking do it. And yeah, I'm here to congratulate you and remind you of how far you've come. Like, it's just, yeah, it just blows my mind that someone in a position who's holding space for people and like holding a space, like, is supposed to be cultivating a safe space so that someone can feel vulnerable. And like, I don't know. I just, like, I don't know what her intention was behind saying that to my friend, like, "Oh," like, basically just like, "Hurry up. Why are you not already healed? Like, you've been doing this for so long." Like, I'm just like, I pray that you never have to ever experience something like that. And if you have experienced that, I am so sorry on behalf of these people because like, the ICF, that's the International Coaching Federation, I think is that what it stands for? Or institute? I don't know. But I think Yes Supply is under them. So anyways, it's just like, maybe double check these people's credentials before you go and see them. But even then, like, I don't know, sometimes I think just some people are wired that way where they wanna impose judgment on others, but that is just so not me at all. Like the last thing that I would ever want to do is judge someone because I will never be in your shoes and vice versa. And I will never be in their shoes and you will never be in their shoes. Like, the audacity, the audacity, right? Like, it's just not cool. And being in someone else's shoes, like, we, we can resonate with others, right? And, me being so open about my experience with anger, like that takes a lot of fucking vulnerability, let me tell you. But, here I am, an open book because I just hope it can serve to help you feel better about, your own journey. and know that there's never was anything wrong with you. Like, check your astrology, check your human design. Like, God, should I bring my readings back? Like, it's just so important that I think people learn this information about themselves, because then you can, like, that's where you can fully, radically, and unconditionally love, accept, and understand yourself. That's how it worked for me anyways, right? But yeah, I'm sharing these experiences with you that I've had. For me, with anger, for you, it could be anxiety, it could be sadness, depression, but you will never know what I actually mean. Like, only I'm ever going to truly know. Like, maybe you do have a similar dynamic with anger or whatever. I feel like there's literally only one other person I've ever met who's been like, "Yeah, I've actually like what you're describing sounds very familiar." So I have felt like, "Oh my God, I'm the only one." But I know I'm not the only one. But anyways, like, no one this is just to say that, like, no one is ever going to actually understand what it's like to walk in your shoes, because we all have a different model of reality, meaning we see reality through a different lens, and that's based upon our childhood, like, well, and even before childhood, like being in our mother's wound, well, the mother wound, but being in our mother's wombs, and generational and ancestral wounds, and then whatever from our past lives. And you can, like, look at your south node to learn in astrology to learn more about your past life, because the south node is like skills that we mastered in our past life, but the north node is kind of like the opposite. It's where we're headed towards in this lifetime, and we really step into that at around age 40. But if you don't have that awareness, like, a lot of times people may stay in their south node, and then it's like, well, in the next lifetime you're going to have to come back and try to relearn that again. So anyways, it's just, there's so much that makes up a person, like, makes them up, because first, like, you have your soul's blueprint, right? But then it's like all the conditioning and all the things that are like not even yours. There's just so much there, and so who are we to ever judge someone else and where they're at? Like, and if you've done it, it's okay. Like, we're all human, and I'm not perfect either, but I really now, and as a teenager, this is probably a completely different story, but I really just make such an effort, because, like, I know what it's like. And yeah, it's just, I just never want someone to feel that way. And so that's why I felt so inspired to share this episode and just remind you that you are full and complete and worthy and so, oh, so lovable, exactly as you are in this very moment and every moment onward and all the moments that were before. And I'm just so proud of you. I love you so much. I'm so grateful for you. I hope that this episode was nourishing and validating, maybe, just to be like, yeah, I'm actually doing fucking great. And I would love for you to share this with someone that you think could find value in it as well. If you know someone that's maybe going through a hard time, or someone that is just a little harder on themselves than others, like, just please share this with them, because this is just such an important message, I think. Because, yeah, it's like people don't want us to know that healing takes time, because they're trying to sell. Like, it's so much in the fucking online coaching world, this, that, like, yeah, we want to sell you your dream life. Like, buy this thing and you're going to have it in 30 days, in 60 days, in this, in this. It's like, that's fucking bullshit. You know, it took me 6 years. Who's selling a course for 6 fucking years? Who? If you know someone, drop it below. I would love to know. But you just don't see it. And so that's why I'm just like, it's fucking bullshit. Okay, enough is enough. And this is probably not going to be this will be the first of many times I probably speak to this, because that just clicked in my head, like, who the fuck is selling a course for 6 fucking years? They're not, because that's not how sales works. And that's why I'm not a salesperson, ladies and gentlemen, because I just want to be authentic and real, and I do want to help people, but I think what I'm here to do is just create safe spaces for people to just come as they are, because you were always enough. You were always enough.
If this episode brought you clarity, insight, or a moment of reflection, I'd love for you to share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you share it on Instagram, tag me at magically.mindful so we can keep the conversation going. To stay updated on what's coming next, head to magicallymindful.ca. Thank you for listening and for choosing to honor your journey today.